Every time I teach a student about the modes, I completely simplify it by saying it is simply the major scale played from a different starting point. So for instance, if we put it in terms of something simple that we all understand, the alphabet, the first mode would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, blah, blah. If we started it from the B, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, so on, that's a mode. It'd be the Dorian mode of the alphabet. So for instance, a C scale. If I skip the C note and start on D, that's D Dorian. Ah, simple, okay, I get it. But that leaves everyone going, well then what's the point? Why do I care? Because there's no scenario as a working musician where I'm going to be called upon to play a mode from its lowest note to its highest note and back. If they're all the same scale, I'll just learn that one scale, thanks. Okay, so what I've come up with is an almost as simple way to illustrate the difference and the fun we can have with modes. So all I'm going to do is play every mode but starting on C. So then you'll hear the difference, because if I play the C major scale or the Ionian mode, and then I play C Dorian, oh wow, completely different. C Phrygian. Yeah, great. C Lydian. Ah, sounds like Steve Vai. That dude loves the Lydian scale, Lydian mode. So that seems confusing. How do we quickly learn all that? Well, there's an easy way. This is going to rely on one fingering type, which I learned from the Berkeley method. It's probably my favourite for major scales. Fingering type 2, which we learn first for the key of G in second position. The reason I love it, the reason I find it great for learning things, is because there's no notes outside of those 4 frets. We're going to use that one shape. So if you're not familiar with that shape, maybe pause the vid, go over it a couple of times. It's not going to take long. We're going to play in the key of C though, so we'll move that shape up to the 7th fret. So my first finger is here at the 7th fret. Our root note, our C, is on the 8th fret here. So I'm going to play fingering type 2 all the way up the scale and back down. And then what I'm going to do, because I want C to be the 2nd note of a major scale, so I'm going to go back to B flat. So I'm going to move back 2 frets. My first finger's at the 5th fret. We would normally start on the 6th, but I'm going to skip the first note and start on C. All one scale, and all we're doing is moving it back a couple of frets and starting another note up the scale. But there's one more thing. We need a point of reference. So what I've done is made a simple backing track that basically just uses a C5 chord. So then if we play all those scales over that backing, you'll really get a taste of what the modes can do. All right, play along with this. Now there's one final touch that I'll mention. You'll notice that on my descent of each scale, any time that I'm using my first and second finger on the same string, I'm just adding a little trill, which is the first tiny step towards moving away from playing a scale to playing a lick or a riff or an idea. So it always occurs in the same place. It's going to be on the E string and the A string as we traverse those notes. So it's really simple to get the hang of that as well. I mean, you can put them in everywhere. You can put slides, you can put bends, whatever you want. That's the idea. Once you get a taste for the modes, you can do what you will with them. I find it quite inspiring. I find the juxtaposition from one to the next, hearing them all side by side over the same chord, makes me think, oh, that one sounds great. I want to write a riff with that. Oh, that's tasty. I'm going to use that in a solo. It really gets the creative juices flowing. So that's the point of this exercise. So look, I've rushed through it. You can go back, you can pause things. So this is going to give you a few things, not just an understanding of the modes and the point of them and how they sound, but it's also going to really get you familiar with that scale, because playing any scale in a different way, in other words, in a different mode, is going to help you remember that shape and understand the neck a bit better. So it'll really help you for that as well. And don't forget, all my tabs and lessons you can find on Patreon, where you can throw me a little bit of support and help me do more of this and get my other massive clips finished. Thank you. Next one, we want the C to be the third note of the scale. So thinking about that scale shape, we're going to have to move back 2 more frets to the 3rd fret. We're skipping our first note, A flat, and our second note. We're going to start here on the 3rd note of the A flat major scale. Same shape. By now you're getting to know it. And the next one, we're going to go back 1 more fret to G, fingering type 2, but again starting on the C note. So skipping G, A, B, we'll start on the C here. Next one will be F major, which is 1st position, starting on the C, which is the 5th note of the F scale. Now we're going to have to go up to the 10th fret to the E flat major scale, starting on the 6th note of the scale, which is C. So we're down here. This one's a little bit different. We're on the D string, 10th fret, 1st finger. And finally, D flat. So back another couple of frets to the 8th fret, but starting on back to the 8th fret, and starting on our 1st finger on that C note at the 8th fret.